I'm Jesse at Strobepro.com, and today I'm going to show you everything there is to know about the Godox R200 Ring Flash. Let's get into it. Before I begin, I want to mention that the R200 Ring Flash is not a standalone light. It's an additional light source or light head to the AD200 and the AD200 Pro. So just like the heads that came with your AD200, you have the Fresnel and then you have a bare bulb. This is going to come off and the R200 is going to connect here. So you need to make sure that you have this separately because obviously this is not included with it. So what's so great about a ring flash anyway? Well, here's a couple of points that might make you want to purchase one. One of the best things is that because you can mount it directly to your camera, it wraps around your lens and it gives you a really unique look. So it gives you very even illumination with virtually no shadows. Because of the round shape, when you use it up close, you get that unique ring catchlight in the eyes, and that's even more pronounced if you purchase the optional reflector, which I'll show you in a minute. When used off camera, one of the nice things is that you can get this very centered in an umbrella, which allows you to provide even illumination out of that modifier. A ring flash can be used in a variety of ways, but they're most commonly used in product photography, fashion photography, or if you just want a very neutral fill light on camera, that's a great option as well. Let's take a look what's inside the box. This is the standard R200 kit, so you're going to get everything inside this box. And I'll go over the optional accessories in a few minutes here, but everything you need to get started is in here as long as you have an AD200. So we have our Godox manual, which is always useless. In the side here, we have a carrying pouch for our AD200, which is nice. Then we have our actual ring flash itself, which is going to connect to our AD200. And then we have a number of brackets in here. So there's a screw bag. We have the actual camera mount itself. So this is going to mount to the camera or to a light stand. And don't forget this little piece in here. This is the umbrella adapter and it's kind of hidden in there. So just make sure you get that out as well. We're going to mount our bracket to the actual ring flash. From there, we'll mount it to the camera. And you just want to make sure that you know which way is up and down. So this screw that's right here, and you've got a little wheel, that's where the camera is going to mount. So this is the top right here. And we need to go to these side pieces right there and there. Just loosen them off. That brings the uprights up like that. And we are going to mount those uprights to the back screws right here. And if you have this little retention strap in the way, just move it to the side because we have a couple alignment kind of ridges here on each side for those uprights to go. If this cable happens to be pushed up, there's a little recessed area for it right here. Just push it down in there so it's nice and flat. From there, all we're going to do is grab the two uprights and just vaguely just kind of put them on the side there. Try to line them up a little bit and grab your screws here. So you have two thumb screws in here and two washers. So washers onto the thumb screw and then just get it started here. We're going to align it properly in a second. So once I get that one started and just the other one here. The nice thing, once this is actually mounted on here, you can pack it up. So it's not like you have to do this every time, just the one-time setup here. Okay, so I've tightened those down a little bit. I'm going to make sure that they're within the grooves here. And I'm just going to put it midway down. So from there, we have this now aligned. So this can mount directly to a stand right now, or we can put our camera on it. So let me show you how to put the camera on, and then we'll take a look at how to mount this with an umbrella. Let's mount the camera to the bracket. Now, any camera you're using should have a 1/4 inch thread down on the bottom here. So you can use an old DSLR like this, or you can use a mirrorless camera. Both will work fine. Now remember, this is our vertical alignment here, so you adjust these screws to slide the actual ring flash up and down. And then the back one here is the horizontal alignment. So you adjust these bottom screws and it's going to slide horizontally. But what we're concerned with right now is this little wheel with the 1/4 inch sticking out of it. And I like to put this face down so I can line up the 1/4 inch thread with the hole in the bottom of the camera. And I'm just going to get it started. And from there you can see like I can actually slide this left and right here. So you can fine tune the alignment. We don't have to crank it down too hard. I played around with the alignment vertically, but the horizontal one, I would just lower this down. And I'm going to bring it probably on this particular 50mm lens, I'd bring it as close as possible here. And chances are you're probably going to want a longer lens than this 50mm anyways. So just slide it forward, and then I'm going to lock these two into position. And if I look at the front here, I look pretty close to aligned, but the actual camera could move over a little bit. So I'm just going to loosen the wheel and shift the actual camera. So right about there. Once I have that, I can lock it into place. And now we're ready to attach this to the AD200 Pro. You might be wondering, why didn't we attach the umbrella bracket here? This cannot be used at the same time when a camera is mounted. So if you want to use the ring flash off camera, I'll show you how to attach this in a minute. Another thing I wanted to mention is that when you hook this up to your AD200 or your Pro, it will work with TTL, but high-speed sync is not available, and that is just a limitation due to the size of this actual flash tube here. So to attach this, really easy. Let's just pull off the strap here, and we can uncoil that. So you've got a nice strap there, and this is very similar to any of the other attachments that you've ever put on. So whether you're using the Fresnel head or the bare bulb head or the round head even, it works the exact same way. We have our 4 pins here, and I actually need to take this warning label off. So it probably wants me to cut it, or no, I can slide it off there. Perfect, so we have our 4 pins. Those just line up here. Let's put it the right way. Make sure it goes on there flush. Once it's on flush, just push it down, and now we are connected to our AD200 Pro. It's nice that Godox includes this carrying pouch because likely you're going to be walking around with this ring flash. Just a couple tricks about putting the AD200 in there. So if you open this up, you have a shoulder strap. So you're definitely going to want to use that. It's just going to connect here and over here. So you can either hang it on a stand or have it on your shoulder. Now, when you slide this in, put the AD200 Pro logo down. Okay, the reason is because this strap at the top. So I just want to line that up. So the screen is going up on it. So sometimes it's easier if you put it on a table. Slide that in, and you can see right away this strap goes over the screen instead of the buttons here. So that's what we want to happen. I don't recall if it's the exact same layout on the AD200, but for the Pro, this is the way you do it. The cable's going to come out the bottom, and then just take your little clip, snap it back together, and then you'd have your shoulder strap on, and we are good to go with this carrying pouch. Now it does have Velcro down here, so if you want to attach this to your belt, you can definitely do that, or onto a camera bag, or whatever you happen to want to attach it to. Even though we have the R200 connected to our AD200 Pro and our camera on here, there's still no communication between the flash and the camera. That's where our Godox controllers come into play, and you definitely want to be using one of these. This is the X Pro version 2, which is a great option. You can use the original X Pro if you want as well, but I would mention with the X2T, just be careful if you're sliding the camera all the way to the back of the ring flash here, you might come into a little bit of clearance issues. With the X Pro series, it's no problem because you have that tilt. So you can see there that we have plenty of clearance. So with our controller and our AD200 Pro mounted, we're now ready to take some shots. One thing I'd like to mention about the controller, because we are using the flash and the controller in close proximity, go into the custom functions on the controller, and you're going to go to distance mode. And by default, it's set 1 to 100. we're using that closer. We want to change it from that to 0 to 30. And that's our close range mode. So set it in there and we shouldn't have any communication issues. The way that we set the communication up between the controller and the actual flash is just the same as any other Godox product. You want to set the channel and the group, and then they'll communicate just the same as they always would. One of the things I also want to mention about the R200 is that it actually has a pretty decent modeling lamp on there. It's a 10-watt LED, and I will just turn that on here so you can see it. Let's go in here. And there you go. So this is really useful if you're just trying to find focus in a dimly lit place, or if you're doing a little bit of macro work with this, it can be really useful. Now you can actually leave that on and still fire the flash as well. So you don't have to turn it off, but because you are using the AD200's battery, I would recommend when you're not using it just to turn it off there so you're not wasting battery. And I'll just highlight that, and here we go. We can turn it off just like that. Before we mount our R200 Ring Flash to a stand, we need a way to do that. Most stands have a standard spigot, which would have a 1/4 inch. Strobepro spigots are reversible, so on one end they're 1/4 inch, and the other end they are 3/8. So you can go into the 1/4 inch hole on the bottom there, or you can flip that around and go into the larger one for a little bit more of a secure mount. But the best option would be this optional Strobepro tripod spigot adapter. And this is designed for a ball head, a quick attachment to a light stand, but it works really well on this ring flash. It has a larger platform here, and you go into the 3/8 hole there, screw that in, and you can see you have a much bigger base plate there. It's going to give you a much more stable platform. And I really like just leaving this on the actual bracket, because even if you're walking around with it with your camera on, it's not adding that much weight. And it's really easy then to go with your camera to drop it onto a light stand and pop your camera off that way. So I'd recommend picking one of these tripod spigot adapters up as well. We're ready to mount our ring flash to the light stand, and I'm going to be using the Strobepro tripod spigot adapter. This is just the most secure way. You can use a standard spigot if you want to, but I like using this guy and leaving it mounted to my actual bracket here. So with that secured, you just drop it into your light stand really easily, lock it down, and now we can mount the umbrella. I have my strap attached to the bag, which is really nice. Now I can just throw it on my stand, and the AD200 Pro can hang there. Now, with an umbrella, I'm going to demo a 33-inch for you, but if you have a 51-inch parabolic or the 63-inch Strobepro parabolic, those are fantastic modifiers to use with this ring flash. The ring flash, because of its circular nature, allows you to illuminate those umbrellas very evenly. In fact, more evenly than a strobe. So if you're a baby photographer, you just want a big source of light, and I know you guys love using those huge parabolic modifiers, then you definitely might want to consider this if you've already owned an AD200 Pro especially. But for everyone, it's actually really easy to mount this umbrella. Just loosen off this screw, slide the umbrella shaft through there, and then set your depth wherever you want. Crank the screw down. Now, to control the tilt, because probably you're not going to want to have this exactly horizontal, we do the same thing like we used to control the camera tilt before, and just loosen off those two screws. Now look what happens. We hit the back bracket here. So a quick fix for that, just tighten that guy back down. We're going to loosen our horizontal mounts here and slide that all the way as far as it will go. Now I'll lock that back in, and you can see that we have much more tilt now. If I loosen that guy off again, we can almost go completely down. So definitely slide that forward, and that'll make it really easy to control the tilt on your umbrella. Let's talk about some of the optional accessories for the R200 Ring Flash. Right here I have the R200 CF. This is a complete color correction gel kit for the R200. And these are specifically cut to fit right on the front ring. So in that pack, you're getting 24 different gels. You have CTO, CTB, and then you also have plus minus green. So you're getting 2 of each, so quarter, half, full. So these little tabs here, you're going to see on the front of the actual flash, there's 3 little notches. So there's one here, one down here, and one over here. All you do is take the tab and go to the top, I find is the easiest, and line that up, and it just slides under. And once it goes under, you can grab the other side of it and pull it tight. And we're just going to do that on the other 2 as well here. So slide it under, perfect. And then one last one over here. And they can be a little bit finicky, but it's actually pretty easy to put them on. So that one slides too. You'll see it's loose there right now. So just grab those, pull them tight, and now you have a custom fit gel directly to your R200. Another optional accessory is the HC30 grid. Godox makes these grids in 3 different degrees. So you have a 20, a 30, and a 40. We find the 30 is generally pretty good for most circumstances. And just be aware that this grid is for the R200 Ring Flash itself. Don't get this confused with the optional reflector, because that also has a set of grids that goes with it. So inside you just have the grid right here, and it has little spring clips on it. This can be a little bit finicky to get on, but basically you're just going to start on one edge and kind of just pull that over. Once it's over on the sides, just align that, make sure it's on there secure, and there you go. You have the grid attached really easily. Here's the optional Godox RFT-25S Reflector. This is a 25 centimeter reflector that attaches on top of the R200 here, and it gives you a really nice beauty dish type look. It really wraps the light around. I really like this accessory, and I'll show you the grid that you can attach to it in a second as well. So there's a couple things we need to do to attach this. The first one is remove this thumb screw on here. And there's a post on the inside. You might need to hold that so it doesn't spin, but then just unspin this. Be careful not to drop it. And we'll set that aside to use in a second. So from there, we can just set the reflector on a tabletop here, and we are going to put the ring flash in there. I actually want to mention this little rubber gasket. You want to make sure that that is on securely, because it will come off. It's just there so you don't scratch the front cover on the actual ring flash. So really easy to do. We have these 2 hooks down here, and we're just going to try to slide underneath of there. Once it's underneath, just push down and it is going to lock in place. I'll spin this around so you can see here. This is the post that we took off, or the thumb screw we took off the post here. And all we're going to do is just get that started again on there. And you shouldn't need to grab that post again. It will tighten up on its own. Once that's tight, then we can lift that up and we are good to go. We have a reflector on there, giving you a completely new look to your R200 Ring Flash. Here we have the optional RHC30 grid. Now, just like the grids that I mentioned before for the actual Ring Flash head, Godox also makes these in 3 different sizes, so a 20, 30, and 40. And here at Strobepro, we stock the 30 just because we find that one the most useful, so you don't have to go ahead and purchase all the different sizes. So inside it attaches basically the same way as the previous one. We just have those little spring clips, and all we're going to do again, come over here and try to get one on, and then it can be a little finicky here. Try to get these bottom guys on first, and then if you pull it up, we get the top clip on just like that. And now we have the grid attached, giving you again a totally new look to your R200. Okay, I've purchased my R200. I got a bunch of accessories. I've got this big reflector, a few grids. I've got my gel kit. Now, how the heck am I supposed to carry all this stuff? Well, Godox has you covered there too with this custom built bag for your ring flash. And this thing is built really nice. It's got a ton of space on the inside because one of the most annoying things to carry are grids. So on the inside here, we have separate pockets for our grids. We've actually got a separate case for our AD200 as well. So if you break this down, I mean, it's really pretty nice to go back in the case. So we can set this on one side if we want to leave the grid on. We've got these different accessories that go in there. And on the inside here of this little pouch, we can put our AD200. It's got little flaps and everything. I won't show you everything, but you can customize this. You can put your controller, everything into this bag in one nice spot to carry around to your next shoot. So there you have it. That's everything you need to know about the Godox R200 Ring Flash and all its accessories. Whether you just pick up the basic kit with the R200 itself, the camera bracket, the umbrella bracket, and the actual little bag here, or if you want to expand the set and pick up different reflectors, grids, a gel set, or maybe even a carrying bag. We've got it all at Strobepro.com. So check out all the options that we have, and until next time, I'm Jesse at Strobepro.com, and enjoy creating.